All right, guys, welcome back. I am with Kelly and WINGET of Alternative Wealth Partners, and we were just talking to her about her starting Alternative Wealth Partners and how that came to be, and also about investments you may not even know about that she can help you make. So Kelly, tell us about how you got this started.
Sure. So having these conversations with investors about where to put their money and raising this capital for everybody else, it got to the point where I'm like, you know what? I know where to find these deals. I know where to find the investors or people looking for these kinds of opportunities. I want to start a fund. It's my first fund. It's a $50 million fund, which seems a little aggressive, but when you're in the alternative space, $50 million can go a long way, but also not very far at all.
So can you explain that to the listeners? You have a $50 million fund. What does that mean?
So I will raise $50 million of private capital and then deploy that capital into alternative opportunities. And that can range from, income focused assets that are cash flowing or equity opportunities that have the potential of, high growth after a few years. Okay.
And then, so what is the first step if somebody wants to get not only in touch with you, but what is the first step to invest in? I mean, how can someone, if let's say they're like me and they have no idea how to do this, what's the very first step they can take?
Start educating yourself about investing, and even just what's the best place to put your money. How much money do you have? Figure that out. What is your net worth? Because you probably have a lot of debt, different types of debt. It doesn't just mean, I have a credit card with X limit and this is how much money I owe and that's my net worth. It's like, no, you own assets. You own a gold chain. Is that real gold? That could be worth quite a bit of money. Let's add it to your net worth. Precious metals.
It's not. It's an alloy at best.
Well, then don't count that towards your net worth. But you want to make sure that you put all of your assets together. Do you own your car outright? What is that car worth? Do you own a home? Do you, these types of things? Even shoes and clothes have things have value. What is that value? And find out what is your worth? What do you have in cash? What can you invest? Do you have enough for an emergency? Because when you invest in my space, in the alternative space, that capital has to be able to be put at risk. It's the only way you're going to get the type of returns you get in alternatives. It's not as risky as going to the casino and putting it all on, red 17 or whatever, but there is significant amount of risk in alternatives. And so you set aside capital you want to grow and you make sure that you can handle that loss, in other parts of your portfolio.
Right. And I think there's also not only the risk that's there, but there's a little bit of trust issues, especially with, the recent Robinhood issues with GameStop and stuff like that. It seems like, the market wouldn't be fair to all the investors. So I guess that's why it's important to go to someone like you.
Yeah. So I do want to say that I am not a financial advisor. I do not provide people with advice as far as what they do with their personal portfolios. I have the access to alternative investments, and I can talk about those opportunities inside of my fund, the opportunities that I partner with. What do certain things mean inside of those investment opportunities? But as far as, I've got $100, where should I put my $100? Well, I don't know. Where should you put it? And the first step is to educate yourself and, what kind of risk can I take? What is my tolerance? And, what am I interested in? Don't invest in something you know nothing about.
Right.
That would be my, I guess, piece of advice. Don't invest in things you don't know anything about.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. What would be the biggest issue or error that you see clients make before they come to you?
Investing in oil and gas without actually knowing anything about oil and gas.
Okay. So basically just what you said, and just throwing their money at something they have no clue about. Okay.
Oh yeah. Because the thing about alternatives is that it's regulated, but also completely unregulated. So the stock market is a public space. So there's a lot of regulations behind it. monitor. There's teams of people that scan through people's offerings and make sure that it's fair to the investors. There's, somebody there to fight for the investors. In the alternative space, because they're private offerings, you're investing in a private company. You don't have the same type of protection. So you have a salesperson that's really good at their job and can convince you that you're about to, buy the world, and you invest. There's a risk to that.
Okay. And so now we're talking about some off Wall Street types of investments. So what does that mean? What does that look like? What does that category even have?
So I've worked on things from little brain chips that help with addiction, startup companies that compete with Uber, things like Snapchat. TikTok is all the rage, but there's a company in Asia that created this app years ago that is now on its whole other level, and it's called, it started off as Bonk, and now it's something else. It's Vazul. So there's all these really interesting things that happen. Oil and gas is an alternative. Real estate, people are invested in alternatives all the time, buying fix and flips or rental properties. That's an alternative investment. Cannabis companies, there's publicly traded cannabis companies, but there's also private opportunities to invest directly into those farms or those dispensaries.
It seems like that is going to be like the future. I feel like, especially out here on the West Coast where everything's legal. You smell it everywhere. I feel like that is a place to invest, no matter, whether you're for it or against it.
I have personal opinions about investing in cannabis. I think that it's a little oversaturated because it's so easy and cheap to grow. So the competition is very small. So your profit margins are really small. There is a way to invest. If you're going to invest, stocks are good if they're a good company. Going directly into something and owning that equity part has definitely some big upsides. I personally, in my personal portfolio, don't own any cannabis. I own a small, like maybe a mutual fund of it that has it in there, but on the fund management side, there is a small portion of that is invested in cannabis.
All right. So now let's say I'm at home, I'm listening to this podcast, and I'm a gay guy and I have all this money in my bank and I've been waiting to invest it. What's the next step? How do I get in contact with you?
So you can go to my website. It's alternativewealthpartners.com. You can email me at k.winget@alternativewealthpartners.com or info@. All of my contact information is on the website. So once you go through there, and if it sounds interesting, you want to have a conversation, I love talking to investors because it doesn't always make sense for everyone. So I'm not going to try to convince somebody to invest in alternatives. They'll have to want that on their own because it is a much higher risk. It's an illiquid investment, meaning that you can't just liquidate it at any point. You can if you are direct own, like if you own a gold bar, you can obviously sell that at any point. And that's an alternative investment. And I also only work with accredited investors. Accredited investors are people that have a net worth of $1 million or more. That does not include your primary residence. So you can't have $1 million home and no money. You have to have $1 million outside of your home, or you have an income over $200,000 as a single person, $300,000 as a spousal unit. But if you are not accredited, I can always have a conversation with you. You just can't participate in my fund or a majority of the people that I partner with.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Well, if everybody wants to go to alternativewealthpartners.com, they can find out more information. They can get in contact with Kelly Ann. That's the best place to go. I'll repeat this information before the episode wraps up. So if you get your pen and paper out now, you'll hear that before the episode is through. But Kelly Ann, before you leave today, I want to play a little game with you if you have a couple of minutes.
Sure.
I want to play a game, and this is meant to be fun and lighthearted, but I do want to play a game with you, and it's really easy. It's called Invest or Detest. All right, so it's really simple, okay? So you just tell me whether you would invest in this random thing I'm about to show you, or if you detest the item and would not recommend it for investing, okay?
Okay.
So here goes the very first one. This is a happy gay couple in front of their new home. So home ownership. Is that invest or detest?
Invest.
All right, invest in a new home. And then what about a gay trip, a big old gay trip? You go down to the, Bahamas. Is that invest? What's that?
1,000% invest.
Invest in that. Okay, that's good. So it's not all, it doesn't all just have to be about return. What's the return on that kind of trip?
Memories.
All right. What about a really expensive lesbian wedding?
Oh man, that's a hard one. Detest.
Yeah, is your girlfriend listening? Oh, Detest. Okay. Now this is a generalization, but what about Bitcoin? Or cryptocurrencies in general? Invest or Detest?
I would say invest if you can stomach losses.
Okay. What about a fancy sports car like a Lamborghini?
Detest.
That just depreciates, right?
Oh yeah, cars are the worst thing you can buy unless they're classic.
What about a vacation timeshare?
Detest. Don't do it.
Don't do it. All right. What about amazing custom artwork for your house?
Invest.
Okay.
Yes.
And then what about a really, really good sex toy collection? Would you invest?
Invest.
Okay, that's investment worthy. All right. What about vintage wines? Would you invest?
Invest. I own. Yes.
Okay, invest. I like this style. This one might not come through on the video as well, but this is a boat.
If you are, make sure you put it under your LLC.
Oh, okay. See, there's a loophole in there somewhere.
Business expense.
My boat business expense.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say thank you so much for joining us on the program today. It's been a lot of fun. If anyone wants to get in touch with Kelly Ann, it's really easy to do. You can just go on to alternativewealthpartners.com, or you can email her at info@alternativewealthpartners.com, and she'll get in touch with you. Thank you so much, Kelly Ann.
Thank you.
I appreciate it, and we'll see you next time.
Bye. Enjoy that beautiful California.
Oh, I will. I love it here. Bye. All right, guys, it's that part of the show where we're going to talk about some amazing, fun stuff. Right now, I have the world-renowned shoe expert, the shoe queen, Julianna Hagar, on the show with me right now. She's coming to us live from her custom shoe closet with all of her shoes. We are going to be discussing on the show today everything from thigh-high boots to army boots, slingbacks, lobster claws, gladiators, dockside slip-ons. We're going to be talking about the styles that you need to know most so that you're well prepared, whether you're around the drag queens and you need to know what they're wearing and know what to call them, or you want to slip on a couple of pairs yourself. You want to be well informed with the SHOETORIAL that Julianna Hagar is about to teach us. So welcome to for the first time ever on the show, the shoe queen, Julianna Hagar.
Thank you so much for having me, Poodle. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course. I was going to say Julianna is the Karen Walker to my Jack McFarland. She's one of my closest friends, and she owns a pair of shoes for every piece of sand on the beach and every star in the sky.
Yes.
All right. Today on the show, we're going to be talking shoe basics, basically. So for all the female shoe basics, we're going to teach us our most popular styles and teach us a little bit about that. And then you're going to join us every month on the show, okay? And teach us a new shoetorial, a little lesson in shoes. And if you ever want to get in touch with Julianna, you can actually email her at shoequeen@outoftheclosetpodcast.com. That's shoequeen@outoftheclosetpodcast.com, and she can answer all your shoe questions. Julianna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, my Poodle. Now, one of the things I wanted to say right off the bat, the reason why I'm so obsessed with shoes and love shoes so much is because you could be having a day where you did not feel so fabulous, but yet you are wearing a pair of gorgeous shoes on your beautiful feet, and you look down and you feel better. And
Amen.
So that's the reason why I'm just obsessed with shoes. They make you feel great. So, and as you can see, I like to feel great by my shoe collection.
Yeah, you guys, I have to explain what I'm seeing right here. You can actually go on to outoftheclosetpodcast.com if you want to see the video of today's podcast and see inside of Julianna's amazing custom shoe closet. It is beautiful. First of all, it's really neatly arranged. This shoe closet was built custom by her husband, and it neatly showcases all of her gorgeous shoes.
Thank you. Thank you.
Without further ado, let's get into the shoe talk. I want to talk about some of the so there's different heels, there's different styles, and there's different toes basically on every shoe. So can you go into a little bit of that and kind of describe to our listeners what those different types of shoes are like?
Sure. So one of the things you what to focus on are like sexy shoes. If you want to focus on that, that's going to be your stiletto. And the stiletto is a really, really high heel. It was created in the 1950s and it was named after a dagger. And if that tells you anything. So it's a very, very thin heel. It's anywhere from 3 to 5 inches usually, sometimes even higher.
Wow.
Usually a closed toe, and very, very sexy shoe. It makes the muscles and the calf pop out.
Looks like it's tall and it's pretty pointy. It's like the heel itself looks like it's only like the size of a pencil to a marker, like the width, the girth.
Very true. Very true. So then they've created a shorter version of that to be a little more comfortable. And that's going to be your kitten heel. So that is, but still just 1 inches, but very thin heel. Same point.
I like that. That's like an office stiletto. It's like a shorter squash version.
It is. Or, you know, if you're going to the parade in our fabulous neighborhood, these are fantastic for that. These are, yes. And then I wanted to show you a mule. This is not the farm animal. This is a mule. And has no back to it. Just the front part of the shoe. Then this is
it looks like a boot that somebody kind of just took a hacksaw, like right at the I guess like mid ankle.
Right. Right here. So this one, actually, you're absolutely right, Poodle. This one is kind of a combo. It's a combo shoe, boot, stiletto, mule. This one has a lot going on with it.
So these things that I'm looking at. So Julianna sent me over a list of shoes and shoe types that I'll have available on the website at outoftheclosetpodcast.com. And you can see all the different silhouettes of the shoes there. But it's crazy. There's some of these shoes that are on this list don't even have heels.
It's true.
So let's go into the types of different toes, because I know there's closed toes, there's peekaboo toes, there's squared toes, rounded toes. Let's talk about some of those options.
Sure. So this is not quite a pointed toe. It has a little bit of a point to it to give it that sleek angle on this one. But we do.
Yeah, it's almost like pointy, but with a slight rounded edge.
Exactly, Poodle. And then we do have the pointy toe. We have the really, really pointy toe, which is like this. You definitely have to buy this.
Have you ever heard of those called roach killers?
That's
like the pointy toes. That's because you can kill a roach in the corner of the room.
Right. That's it.
Is that a Texas thing, or is that? Does anyone?
I think it's a southern thing, because we do.
I just want to make sure there's
roaches.
Yeah, I want to make sure. I was gonna say I hope there's no slang in there anyway that I derogatory that I didn't know. But yeah, roach.
No.
Roach
No, you were absolutely right on with that, because that's what they also called pointy cowboy boots. They called those roach killers too.
That's also good. You know what those are really good for? Those are good for kicking some ass.
Oh hell yeah! I mean, if someone's this is the shoe you wear.
Yeah, you go straight to the anus or the eyeball with that one. All right, now I'm looking at this one online. It's like a peep toe, a peep toe platform with like a stiletto. Okay, so peep toes are like a little window in the front, right?
Yes, and so here's a sample of that. This is, and it just showcases just a couple of toes. I would say maybe two toes.
No, that shoe's really good if you have like bunions or maybe a corn.
And you don't want to show that off, or a hammer toe, and you don't
hammer toe.
Yeah, if you just want, or
not that there's anything wrong with that if you have a hammer toe.
Not at all. Or corns or bunions. And if you haven't had a chance to get a pedicure in these crazy times, a pedicure right here, you just paint 2 toes and you're good too.
In quarantine, that's going to save you a lot of money, so that's good.
So you do it yourself. So this is also a stiletto and a slingback, and then the platform. So this one has like a lot going on with it too. Just fabulous.
Well, I know we don't have nearly enough time to talk about all things shoes in our little segment, but I appreciate you, the shoe queen, coming on the show, spending some time, and you're going to join us every month. Next month, we're going to talk about the shoes and the celebrities that made them famous.
Yes.
And like I said, if you want to email the shoe queen, it's really easy to do. Just email shoequeen@outoftheclosetpodcast.com before next week's show, and she's going to answer any of your questions that you have. Julianna, you're going to be joining us every month, and I really do appreciate that. But first, before you go, I want to play a really quick game. Okay, are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to hold up a picture of a foot. Okay, and I want you to tell me a shoe you'd recommend. Okay, and I'm going to describe the foot too for the viewers that are the listeners at home that are not watching the podcast. So this is the first foot. Let me hold it up real quick. Now this person has 2 toes longer than their big toe on their foot. So they have almost a hammer toe option. What would be a good shoe for this foot?
Okay, so I would not recommend any kind of heel. I would definitely recommend a flat, and maybe if you wanted to do a small platform for that particular foot because of the curvature of the toes.
So no peekaboo on this one?
No peekaboo either.
That one should stay hiding. Okay, let me ask you about this. Now, this is a actual photocopy of Marge Simpson's foot. Now, Marge Simpson only has 4 toes, and it's yellow. What would you recommend for Marge Simpson?
Marge Simpson, she could really wear anything. You know, they're in a world of their own.
All right, now let me ask you this, because this happens to some people. You might retain a little water. You probably had too much Asian food. This is a cankle. Okay, this is a foot. Yeah, this is where the calf goes straight to the foot. There is no ankle. It's just a cankle. What kind of shoe is best for a cankle?
My recommendation on that is no shoes and elevate those feet and drink some lemon water.
Lemon water. Okay,
Yes.
okay. All right, now I'm going to show you one other pair. This is a pair of sexy stilettos. These look like Louis Vuittons with red bottoms.
Yes.
They're shiny and high gloss.
Yes.
Where would you recommend wearing these shoes?
You could wear those definitely out on the town at night. You could wear those in our fabulous neighborhood. You could wear those in the boudoir.
Oh, so this is all you'd wear basically?
Those are
hello.
sexy.
Those are gorgeous. Okay, and I wanted to show one. If you're watching, you can see this is the claw heel, which is popularized by Lady Gaga that you were talking about. But it looks like Southwestern pottery and a claw foot. I mean, it's crazy. Where would you wear these?
Well, and this was popularized by an artist actually, and it is called a lobster claw. And I just don't think you would wear them, period. I mean, I don't even know how people wear those at all. You're literally on your toes, and then no, you would have to wear those in the boudoir also.
Those look like kind of clunky. They'd be like, put your legs up, and they'd be like, I can't, they're too heavy. Anyway,
you have some kind of lobster fetish or something like that.
Well, Julianna, thank you so much for joining us today on the Out of the Closet podcast. The shoe queen is in the house, the renowned world shoe expert right here, coming to us live from her own shoe closet. Julianna, before we leave, do you have any final words that you'd like to leave with the listeners?
Yes, I would. And thank you so much for having me, Poodle. And what I would say is, and this is to paraphrase RuPaul, anyone that puts on their high heels and puts their lipstick on their lips and walks out of their closet is a hero.
Woo! Amen to that, sister. Well, thank you so much for being on the show. Again, like I said, if you want to email the Shoe Queen, you can email her directly at shoequeen@outoftheclosetpodcast.com to answer all your shoe questions. She'll be on next month. Okay, so make sure you go to the website, find out everything you need to know about the Shoe Queen. You can log on, see all the shoes we discussed in today's show, and we'll see you next month.
Thank you.
All right, now we got to go to a quick commercial, and we'll be right back after this. Woo!
it's Mallory from giftbitch.com. Yeah, I said giftbitch.com. Have you been to giftbitch.com? If you haven't, giftbitch.com has awesome unique gifts, amazing chic home decor and accessories, girly things and super gay stuff. One-of-a-kind finds, fashion, wearables and funny things that make you LOL. That's giftbitch.com. Use promo code OOTC for 15% off your total order. That's OOTC.
Hey, it's Andrew. Do you have a business or a service that you would like to advertise on the Out of the Closet podcast? Well, if you do, I'd love for you to become a sponsor of the show. We can get your business in front of our amazing LGBTQAI+ and ally listeners who can't wait to hear all about your company. Plus, it's really super affordable. Right now, you can be included on 4 podcasts for just $250. Want to get started? Email me at andrew@outoftheclosetpodcast.com. Thank you.